All right, let's dive into another deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at Nike. You know, the one, the only, the sneaker king.
Yeah, Nike.
But there's a twist. A twist we're going to uncover today, with your help, of course. You've given us some pretty interesting stuff to look at. First, some deep financial data about Nike.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this totally out-of-left-field news story about Nike's partnership with Skims.
Oh, yeah, that was a big surprise.
So let's bring these two together and try to understand what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we come up with.
Okay, so first, let's take a quick snapshot of Nike's financials. When I saw their total valuation, I was blown away.
How much was it?
It was $346.77 billion. I almost choked on my coffee. I mean, that's just an insane amount of money. It makes you think, are they invincible?
Well, about that, that's where it gets really interesting, because as big as they are, even giants have weaknesses. And that's where this financial analysis we have comes in.
Okay, so tell me more. What are the weaknesses?
So they highlighted something called the PEG ratio.
The PA ratio.
Yeah, it's basically a way to see if a company's stock price is actually matching its real growth potential.
Okay, so if everyone thinks Nike is going to become the next Apple, like just blow up even more,
Right.
that expectation is already baked into their current stock price.
Exactly. And if they don't meet those huge expectations, well, some people might be in for a very bad surprise.
Ouch.
Yeah, and that might explain why their stock took a dip recently.
Oh, it did? By how much?
It went down over 10% in just the last month, which for a company like Nike is definitely something to pay attention to.
So that could be a sign that people are starting to get a little worried about whether Nike can keep growing like crazy.
It's a possibility, and that high PEG ratio suggests that it might be a good idea to, take a breath and see what happens with their growth before jumping in.
That makes sense. So you mentioned the pH ratio as a potential warning sign. Are there other things that, like, a smart investor should be looking at right now with Nike to figure out if this stock dip is like a buying opportunity or a sign of something worse?
Right. One thing would be to look at their sales, specifically their apparel sales. That hasn't been their strongest area. They actually make most of their money from shoes.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, so investors are going to be watching closely to see how those apparel sales are doing, especially compared to companies like Lululemon, who are really crushing it in that space.
Okay, so we have this giant company, maybe a little bit wobbly right now, trying to figure out how to really dominate the apparel world. And then boom, this news drops about Kim Kardashian and Skims. I have to admit, my first reaction was total confusion.
Yeah, I get that. It was definitely a head-scratcher.
Like, Skims is known for shapewear, which is not exactly what you picture when you think about athletic gear.
Totally. It's like, what are they even thinking?
Right. It's very unexpected.
But the more I thought about it, the more I started to see the potential here. You see, Nike has been working on winning over women customers for a while now, but they've only gotten about 40% of that market, not as much as they'd like.
Okay.
But Skims, they have this massive, devoted following of women who are all about body confidence and style.
That's true.
Could this be what Nike needs, like this unexpected partnership to reach a whole new level?
That's a really good point. I can see that. But I do wonder about the potential downsides, too.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Well, Nike has this super strong established image.
Right.
And Skims is seen, I think, by some as being more about hype than substance.
Okay.
So could partnering with Skims actually hurt Nike's reputation?
That's a really good point, yeah. Because Nike has always been all about pushing boundaries in athletics, inspiring athletes.
Right.
And some people might see this partnership as moving away from those core values. It'll be fascinating to see how they handle that.
Definitely. So let's talk about the details of this partnership. This new brand, NikeSKIMS, is launching this spring, right?
Yes, spring 2025. Big plans for apparel, shoes, accessories, the whole shebang.
But all we've seen so far is just a logo. No actual products.
I know, it's kind of a classic move to get everyone buzzing and wondering, but it does make you wonder, what are they hiding?
Totally.
Right? They're being very secretive, which is smart from a marketing perspective, but it also leaves a lot of room for people to speculate. Will the quality be up to Nike standards? Will the Skims aesthetic actually work for athletic clothes?
That's a big question mark.
Right. We'll just have to wait and see.
It's like they're saying, trust us, this is going to be big. But will it? What do you think the biggest potential benefits are for both of these brands?
Well, for Nike, the potential financial gains are pretty obvious. Like, if they can even grab a small piece of Skims customers, we could see a pretty big jump in their apparel revenue.
Makes sense.
And don't forget about the Kardashian effect.
Oh, yeah.
Kim Kardashian, she has this crazy ability to make everything she touches just explode in popularity.
That's true.
Her influence on the fashion world, you can't deny it. And that could translate into tons of women wanting to wear Nike, too.
So you're picturing like a world where leggings replace jeans and sports bras are the new going-out tops.
Maybe. But seriously, though, do you think Skims' whole aesthetic, which is very, bodycon and showing off curves,
Yeah.
can that really work for athletic wear? Are people going to want to work out in that?
That's the question, isn't it?
Right. But I think how people view athletic wear is changing. It's not just about performance anymore. It's got to be stylish and comfortable. And let's be real. Sometimes feeling confident and looking good is all the motivation you need to get moving.
So it's less about, like, hardcore training and more about athleisure, like looking good while you're out running errands or grabbing coffee.
Exactly.
Which actually reminds me of something. Nike's gotten some criticism for sticking to their classic looks, while brands like Lululemon are trying new things with fabrics and designs. So could this partnership be a way for Nike to get a little more exciting and innovative?
Ooh, that's a good point. Remember how we were talking about how Nike's apparel sales haven't been their best?
Yeah.
Maybe this partnership is their way to reach those customers who want something different, more fashion forward.
Okay, but we've seen other lingerie brands try to make that jump to athletic wear, and it hasn't always worked out. Like, remember Victoria's Secret? That didn't really take off.
Yeah, that's true. And that's a perfect example of how this could totally backfire. But I think Skims has something different going for them. They've built their brand on being body positive and inclusive, which is really important in their customers.
Yeah, I see that.
And with Nike's expertise in manufacturing and all their performance tech, they could really create something special.
So we've been talking about all the potential good things, but we have to admit there are some risks here too, right? Like, what could go wrong for both brands?
Yeah, for sure. For Nike, I think the biggest worry is that their brand image could get watered down. Partnering with a brand that's seen as more trendy than athletic could alienate their core customers, those who really care about performance and Nike's history. And honestly, not everyone's a fan of the Kardashians, so some people might see this as like Nike trying too hard to be cool or even betraying their roots.
I can see that. It's definitely a gamble.
For sure.
What about for Skims?
Well, for Skims, the danger is getting lost in the shadow of this giant company.
Right.
Will they be able to keep their own unique voice and style within this partnership? That's a big question.
It's a tough balance to strike.
Totally. And then, of course, there's the money part. If this Nike Skims line flops, both companies could lose a lot.
So we've got possible rewards, possible disasters, and everyone waiting with bated breath for this launch in spring. What do you think we should be paying attention to as this whole thing unfolds?
The most obvious thing is the actual product, right? What will it look like? What kind of tech will it have? How much will it cost? And then, just as important, how will people react to it?
Will people be excited? Will they be like, nope, not for me?
Exactly. And then there's the money side of things. Will it actually boost revenue for both companies? We'll have to see.
So many questions.
Oh, and Nike has their next earnings report coming up on March 20th, 2025 that could give us some early hints about whether this partnership is working out.
Mark your calendars, everyone. That's going to be interesting to see. And then there's the global launch in 2026. That's when we'll really see how big they're thinking with this.
It does feel like this is just the first chapter in the NikeSKIMS story. I mean, this could totally change the athletic wear game, blurring the lines between performance and fashion, but it also makes you wonder about the future of both of these brands.
It's kind of crazy to think that a shapewear company could actually change things up for a giant like Nike.
I know, right?
But this is bigger than just a business deal, right? What does this whole thing say about, like, the world we live in?
What I find really interesting is how this reflects the changes happening in our everyday lives. Like, we don't really put things in separate boxes anymore.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. Athletic wear isn't just for the gym now. It's become part of how we dress every day.
Yeah, that's true. Like, the whole athleisure trend has totally taken over. Leggings as pants, totally normal now. Sneakers with a dress. Sure, why not?
Exactly. And I think this partnership takes that even further. It's combining performance wear with body confidence and shapewear. It makes you think about how we see ourselves, how we want to present ourselves to the world.
That's a good point. And it makes me think about the whole retail landscape, too. Stores are having a hard time because everyone's shopping online now. So could this partnership be a way for Nike and Skims to get ahead of the game?
Oh, absolutely. Skims has a huge online presence, and Nike has all those stores around the world. Together, they could reach way more people and create a really seamless shopping experience no matter where you are.
Like, they're creating this one-stop shop for, like, all your athletic and just general lifestyle needs. And I can't help but think about all the cool stuff they could do together, like special edition sneakers, pop-up shops, online events.
Yeah, the possibilities are pretty exciting.
It's a really smart way for both brands to stay in the spotlight and keep people interested. And going back to what we talked about before, it could really be what Nike needs to boost those apparel sales.
For sure.
So we started out wondering if this partnership would be a hit or a miss. And I think the answer is way